adapted the layout and design of their dwellings to suit the natural surroundings and weather conditions. Houses were built tightly together and sunk in the sand. The narrow streets and alleys were covered with roofs, and a wall around the settlements protected them from the sun and the sand. Buildings constructed from adobe bricks and the mud of the Nile were usually single-story houses, but there were also two-story houses. Dwellings were complexes of regularly arranged rooms. The most common type of houses consisted of 3 living rooms, 1 kitchen, and 1 pantry. Some buildings also included a basement used as a pantry. Stairs were built to access the roof or the basement. Doors and windows were just rectangular openings. Furniture was relatively simple. The Egyptians' furniture and household equipment was designed to be functional. They commonly used beds, chairs, tables, and wardrobes. Furniture was almost always made of wood. Staples, cereals, oil, etc., were usually stored in amphorae. Homes were colorful. There were often shelves on the walls, carved in the wall, or made of wood. Ancient Egyptian houses could not resist weather conditions and were lost to posterity. Fortunately, archaeologists have found some model houses in tombs from the age of the Middle Kingdom. These, together with written sources, offer us information about the shape, structure, and equipment of these dwellings. Mention of ancient Egypt reminds most people of pyramids, pharaohs, mummies, and hieroglyphs. But the religious beliefs of the people in that era are just as fascinating. Of course, the central figures in those intriguing ancient myths are the gods. Over the millennia, their special fellowship boasted a great many members. These usually benevolent and friendly deities were sometimes depicted in either fully animal or fully human form, but most often their images show them as human figures with the head of some animal. Besides personifying the invisible powers of nature, they had another important feature. This was the role their worshippers' imagination attributed to them. Ancient Egyptians built monumental temples to honor their gods and goddesses. Inside each temple, a sanctuary housed a statue of the deity, where priests performed rituals and sacrificial offerings. Although Egyptologists have shed light on many aspects of ancient Egyptian beliefs over the past century, the religious world of the people in those times still seems mysterious in our modern era. The Nile is the longest and among the best-known rivers in the world. It played an important role in Egyptian culture in prehistoric times. In ancient times, the river was called Hapi, after the god of fertility and rebirth. The name Nile originates from the Greek word Nilos, meaning river valley. Egypt is often called the gift of the Nile, as the life of Egyptians depended on the river. It flooded annually around the 19th of July, leaving fertile mud deposits on the surrounding land. This event was so important that the day of the flood became the first day of the Egyptian calendar. The ancient Egyptian name of the country was Kemet, meaning black land, from the rich, dark mud. As the river flooded, Egyptians attempted to keep the water on the lands by building dams and canals, so that the mud could be completely deposited. Using an advanced irrigation system, they made large areas along the Nile fertile. Lands were divided into parcels by ditches. These parcels were watered from canals with water-lifting devices. The construction of canals and dams, and the operation of irrigation systems, required cooperation and a high level of organization within the settlements, and thus played a great role in creating the ancient Egyptian state. In ancient Egypt, the Nile was the source of life. But the river did not only play an important role in agriculture, it had an essential role in trade and transport, being the only navigable river in the region. As there was very little wood available, vessels were initially built of papyrus reed. This material required special technique and resulted in unique structures. Later, wooden vessels appeared, constructed out of short wooden boards. These boats were built without timber frames or keels. When navigating downstream, they relied on the river's current. When sailing upstream, they used the wind blowing from the sea. Boats had a single mast with a square sail, initially made of papyrus and later of cotton fabric. Boats were steered with steering oars.